Johnny here for Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. Welcome to your Lariat 2022 Ford Maverick Build and Price. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about why you'd take a Lariat over an XLT or an XL and why you don't necessarily need to take a Lariat. So I want to clarify some things, and in the video I'm also going to be talking about, some major important differences between an FX4 Maverick, when you should get that one, versus 4K towing. Now there's been some misunderstanding with people thinking that with the FX4 you're fine to tow 4,000 pounds because it has the bigger radiator and it has the cooling fan, but it's missing two critical components. And I don't want you to be fooled. I don't want any of you to have issues with your warranty, and I definitely don't want you getting the wrong model. So let's just put the pedal to the metal, jump right in, and get right to this. Now, I'm going to be working just below me here so that you guys can follow along. So if you want to follow along to the right here, I'm going to be doing the build and price as I go through it. So the XL, a lot of people are going to be, naturally driven away from this model, thinking that it has, mechanics that are less good, that the seats will be less comfortable, or that, the technology on it will be lower quality or sometimes non-existent. For the most part, Ford is incredible in regards to this, because they're not giving you, if you go with an XL and you're looking at, a starting price of $19,995 versus an XLT, which is $22,280, or a Lariat at $25,490. Remember, all these prices don't have the almost $2,000 of, transport. That's not the final suggested retail or MSRP, manufacturer suggested retail price. And to get that MSRP, make sure you do get a signed offer when you shop your Maverick. But moving right along, all those prices are also with the 2.5 liter hybrid engine. So first point that we really got to cover is the 2.5 liter hybrid engine has been sold out since November 15th. You can put in order, I guess you can always put it in order, but you're not going to get it before the 2023 Ford Maverick model year, which I would expect to show up sometime in late summer or early fall. We'll have to wait and see. I'll update that information as it comes along. But if you do get an XL, keep the big one. Keep in mind, it's not going to have cruise control, and you can't add cruise control onto it. Now, all models, XL, XLT, and Lariat also won't have Sync 3. It's only the Lariat with luxury package that gets Sync 3. So what's the big deal here? What does Sync 3 do? Well, Sync 3 is Ford's system where you can, give orders to the vehicle, pressing a button. You can give verbal commands to, change the radio station. You can have it change the temperature in the vehicle. Takes on all sorts of vocal commands, and you can have embedded in the system your applications. However, if you go with any of the other models, so a standard Lariat without the Luxe package, XLT or XL, you're going to have a fantastic system just the same. It's just that for your applications, they're going to run through your phone. And for the applications of your phone to go onto the vehicle, because remember, those applications will not be embedded in the vehicle unless you have Sync 3. So no embedded applications, they will run off your phone. You will, without being tethered, without the wire. So you need the wire to have your applications from your phone transfer onto the screen. But without wired connection, you will still be able to do vocal commands. You'll just go through either the Android or the Apple vocal command system. You'll use their technology, and you will be able to, pick music, verbally ask for music to play off your phone. And of course, you'll also be able to make phone calls without being tethered. But anything application-wise, you need to run it through the wire. Now, I think hopefully I've clarified that. So let's, just reading straight off from my information sheet. When you don't have Sync 3 with a smartphone connected via Bluetooth and voice pass-through. So the language is voice pass-through. Customers can push the talk button on the steering wheel and use voice commands to make a phone call or play music through the paired phone. So that's through the paired phone. Apple CarPlay or Android Auto function when the smartphone is tethered using a USB cable. Apps shown on the touchscreen will be based on the customer's phone and are not vehicle embedded. with Sync 3, you get vehicle embedded applications. So I wanted to clarify that. That would be a reason why you'd maybe go up to a Lariat luxury package. But please do keep in mind your mechanics on the XL, your brakes, motor, the seats themselves, the comfort of the seats. Whether you get an XL or you get a Lariat, you're getting a great truck in regards to mechanics. Ford isn't, on the XL model, they're not stripping this and making it so that, when you're rolling down the highway, you're going to hear the little birds chirping on the side. The insulation is good. The sound deadening materials, everything's going to be top quality. Now, there are some small differences when you get up to the Lariat, but your suspension, your brakes, all the good stuff, all the important stuff, the transmission, some manufacturers, when you get the base model, you're not getting the same transmission even, or the same engine. All of these come standard with a hybrid, which is now sold out. So we're going to be looking at the 2-liter turbo today. So I'll move right along with you as we do this. So we'll jump to the Lariat. Main reason to go from an XLT to a Lariat, in my opinion, is if you want to get into that Activix interior. Now the seats are just as comfortable, but boy, do they ever feel good to the touch. Activix is, for the most part, recycled plastic. A lot of people will get the impression that it's a very good quality leather because it's soft. It's just a little stretchy. I've shown that in other videos before, and it's a fantastic finish. I really like it, and it goes with where I feel we need to move as an entire society. It's part of what helps Ford recycle 1.2 billion plastic bottles per year. So let's jump right into this Lariat. Once we add the 2-liter EcoBoost engine, you can see the price change there from a hybrid at $25,490 to $26,575. What are we getting with all that? Well, you get the intelligent access with push button start. So that's something I don't have on my Bronco, and in very cold temperatures, it certainly is a little less fun to take off your glove, dig for your key, unlock, get in, and on the other models of Maverick, you're actually going to also be putting your key into an ignition switch. Well, push button start means, and keyless entry means the key stays, in your pocket or in your purse. Not my purse, but maybe you're watching in your purse, and you just jump into the vehicle, press the button, and take off. Now, turboed engines. If it's -30, you might want to let that car idle for 30 seconds to a minute. Just let it take, or drive it very softly at first, because you don't want to get into a vehicle that has a turbo engine and just start pounding on the vehicle. That's not the way to treat a turboed engine. Let the turboed engine heat up a little. Now, moving along, you're also getting the LED headlamps with signature lighting. Do keep in mind, though, don't be fooled. All the trims, if I recall correctly, and you can correct me in the comment section, but I'm pretty sure about this, all the trims do have LED headlamps. This is just that it's with signature lighting. So that's the difference when you kick it up to a Lariat. You're getting 8-way power driver seat, which on the XLT, you had to get the luxury package anyways. And once you add XLT, remember the luxury package on the XLT is about $3,000, low 3,000s. So you're coming pretty close to that Lariat. So this comes standard with the electric driver seat like an XLT luxury. You get dual zone electronic automatic temperature control. That could save you some arguments with your partner, your wife, husband. There's also the noise reducing windshield. So earlier I said that, Ford doesn't cheap out on their less expensive models. Well, that's true, but they will add a little more. In this case, on the Maverick Lariat, you're going to get a noise reducing windshield. So that probably means that it's laminated to help cut down on the noise. You also have a power sliding rear window. So that's behind you. You'll have that window that, heck, I had it, at least it's power sliding, so much more of a chance that you actually use it because it's electric. There'll be a button. You'll get but by the way, I've had trucks for years and I often don't open that back window. It's great if you're, hauling lumber and you're willing to risk putting a little bit of lumber through there and hope that it doesn't break because you hit a really bad bump. But speaking of which, the Maverick is really good on bumps. It's great in the corners. You do hear the suspension definitely on bumps, but it's really good at absorbing it and not having you be shaken all around. You're not going to feel like a shaken beer when you're driving the Maverick. It won't be an explosive situation, you could say. Also, the ambient lighting comes with the Lariat, and you get the flex bed system with rear cubby storage, 2 of them. So that's all fine and dandy. You also get, the main thing is you get an incredible looking interior. As long as you like the brown interior. I know some people have been saying they don't like the navy pure interior on the XLT. I was on the fence. I thought I'd be feeling so-so in regards to it. And then I sat in it once and I was like, actually, this is better. And the more I see that interior, the more I like it. It kind of feels like an old pair of jeans. It's comfortable. It might not be a pantsuit. It's not as good looking as the Lariat interior with the Activix, but a pair of jeans works just fine for me. I feel pretty darn comfortable in them, and I feel pretty darn comfortable in the interior, the XLT. So I think that's a lot of people that haven't seen it yet in person. I know there's some people not liking it so much, but I'd say give it a try. See it in person. It might completely change your mind. Now let's talk a little bit about that 6.5-inch productivity screen. Ford, right on their website, bigger is better. The Lariat comes with an upgraded instrument cluster, including a larger productivity screen. Well, that is nice. But mind you, on the XLT, if you go FX4 package, you're getting that screen anyways from recollection. So that's pretty neat. So if you're on the fence between XLT and Lariat, you don't feel like you need the power seat or any of the things that I mentioned earlier, well, if you're just going for a straight XLT, you could throw FX4 package on it. It's only $800, and you'll have, that 6.5-inch productivity screen that a lot of people will like because you just see all that important information that much better. So let's start the build. I'm not going to talk long about colors today. I'm just going to say any light or medium color like Velocity Blue. I've got it on my Bronco. The dirt doesn't show so much on it. And when you do go to clean it, if you haven't completely, absolutely, perfectly rinsed off your vehicle and you go to mitt wash it, a contact wash, well, on a darker color, you're probably going to have swirl marks pretty quickly. And on the lighter colors, hey, your clear coat's getting swirls in it just as much. You're just not going to see them. So that might be an important thing to keep in mind. Also, if you don't like washing your car very much, stay away from those dark colors because they're always going to be dirty if you're not washing your car very often. Heck, black, springtime, all through spring and part of summer, you've got pollen. It'll never look clean. That's why I personally like lighter colors, but I like colors with a little flash. So I'm a big fan of Velocity Blue. Cactus Gray. I'm getting a Bronco that'll be Cactus Gray as well. Love that color. Carbonized Gray. I can say both Cactus Gray and Carbonized Gray are great at hiding dirt, which is usually what dirt and pollen. They're great colors. Do have a Bronco in Cyber Orange. They call it orange, and I don't know. Marketing, right? It's yellow. Come on. Let's say it as it is. It's yellow. White, a lot of people will say, I don't want white. It's too much. It always looks dirty. White's a really harmless color. You wash that up, it's not going to show little scratches in the clear coat. It is an easy color to maintain. Now, if you do keep this, 10, 12 years, rust does show more on it. Keep in mind that brake pads, the little spots from brake pads, if you don't wash your vehicle regularly, will really stick on to your clear coat, and it's pretty hard to get off. So there's that about white to keep in mind. But if you like white and that works for you, just keep in mind, wash it off often enough to get the little brake dust from your brake pads off. So we've talked about what comes with that 500A. So 500A, when you're on the website, that just means that's what they're calling a Lariat before you start to equip it more. The tow package. Here is probably the most important thing I'll say in this entire video. You need 4K tow if you're gonna pull 4,000 pounds. I know there's a lot of talk about people saying, bah, if you have the FX4 package and all-wheel drive, you're fine. Here's the thing. Let's go check out the differences between FX4, which is $800, and the 4K. And trust me, you do need both, because let's say we add just FX4. Here's the issue, okay? Let's get through all the maintenance stuff, the regular stuff. You are going to get different, unique aluminum wheels. You're going to get AT tires. That's great. So why would you get FX4? Don't get FX4 to pull more. Get FX4 to go off-road because it's got the right tires. You do get the 6.5 productivity screen in the instrument cluster if you're an XLT, standard on the Lariat. I'm happy they cleared that up on the website. You get the sticker. Who cares about the sticker? But you will get hill descent control. So when you're off-road, when you're in the woods, and you're going down a big steep hill, you don't want to overheat your brakes. And well, hill descent control is mechanical braking. It's having your transmission help keep the vehicle at speed. So this is all about not overheating those brakes. And when we get to talking about pulling, we'll be talking about overheating brakes. Beyond hill descent control, you're getting a few extra drive modes. You're getting sand, mud, and ruts mode. You're getting skid plates underneath the vehicle. Now that's going to protect your oil pan. Your skid plates should also be protecting your fuel tank. So that's smart stuff. When you're off road, you don't want a tree stump to just, puncture, dent, break, or a rock your oil pan or gas tank, because both of which are disastrous when you're in the middle of nowhere, and you don't want to be paying some exorbitant fee for someone to come tow you out of the forest or desert or whatever type of off-roading you may be doing. So this is a must for off-roading. Let's continue. Now let's talk about that towing. You've got the trailer, hitch, receiver, 4-pin connector. 4-pin connector means it's going to do the it's going to do the lights on your trailer that you're towing and not the brakes. Here's the thing. How much does a Maverick weigh? About 3,700 pounds. If you're pulling 4,000 pounds more than your Maverick, your trailer, if it doesn't have brakes on it, already the weight is gonna compete with the stability of the vehicle. But on top of it, if your trailer has 4-pin connector like on the FX4 versus a 7-pin connector on the 4K towing, well, without trailer brakes behind you, the weight of the vehicle plus the weight of your trailer is gonna be a lot for your brakes. They could very well overheat. And you know what else could overheat? Not your engine, because your engine's got the heavy-duty engine cooling fan and the heavy-duty radiator. But the 4K has a transmission coolant. It'll cool off the transmission oil. And here's the other thing. You pull 4,000 pounds with the FX4 package without 4K, and your transmission could very well overheat. That will not be covered by warranty, and you could end up in a whole lot of trouble. So I don't want you getting fooled. I know there's people out there saying, bah, pull over 2,000 pounds, between you and me, if we're talking about 100 feet, from one part of your property, 100 feet to another part of your property, that's a whole different story. But for any actual pulling, no, get the 4K. The FX4 does come with the heavy duty radiator, but that's for keeping your engine cool when you're off-roading. Because when you're off-roading, you're going to be at low speed often. You're going to need more torque, so you're going to be playing often around 1,500 to 3,000 RPM. And when you spin in the mud, you'll be kicking it up to 6,000 RPM like I did with the Bronco the other week, a few weeks ago in the fields. And it's all about keeping your engine cool, but you've got nothing going on for your transmission. So you need, we add that, and of course the price is really going to jump up because you have to remove front wheel drive to add all wheel drive. So if you add FX4 to your Lariat and you're thinking of going front wheel drive, consider it actually a $3,020 option. Don't be fooled on this one. Know that it costs $3,000. I am going to take it because I think a lot of people, the option is really going to be to either go FX4, and I think, a lot of people are going to be taking A 2-liter turbo, not necessarily for its power, which I've driven it. The 2-liter turbo power, whether you get it in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, is fantastic. 250 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque at about 3,000 RPM. It's a barrel of laughs for a 3,700-pound truck. It is incredible. Just think back to the 90s and early 2000s. You had big V8s with actually trucks back then weighing around 3,700 to about 4,200 pounds. But heck, they had about 220 horsepower and about 240 to 280 pound-feet of torque. Of course, later on in the mid-2000s, they started to have more and more power, and now we're just so completely spoiled that if a vehicle doesn't have 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque, at least we have the tendency to feel like it's not enough. But that's just not the case. 4K towing, just to prove what we've been saying. You know, you could just completely avoid the FX4 kit if you're not going to take it off-road. This is just about towing for you, this is the right package, because the big part here is the trailer hitch receiver with 7-pin connector. That means you're not only going to have the lights on your trailer, you're also going to have the brakes from your trailer working for you, helping to keep your truck brakes from overheating. You're also, very important, of course, it does have the higher capacity radiator like the FX4 kit. It's got the upgraded cooling fan like the FX4 kit. It also has an upgraded drive ratio, which that's going to help with pulling. It's got a trailer brake controller. You need that when you're pulling more than 2,000 pounds because you don't want to overheat those brakes. And of course, it has the transmission oil cooler. So that's what you need to pull 4,000 pounds. Now, if I was getting a Lariat, I'd take these two options. I think for resale, you know, if you're already going to go all-wheel drive, because both FX4 and 4K require all-wheel drive. Don't be fooled. That's what kicks up the price a whole lot. If you want just a really comfortable luxury vehicle, that's a reason why you'll take Lariat. Keyless entry, push button start, electric seat, all things that make sense if you like a little bit of luxury in life. If not, XL or XLT will be fine. Just remember your XL won't have cruise control, but it's still going to be a great drive. The mechanics are top notch. But if you're going all-wheel drive anyways, why not spend the extra $745 for 4K towing? This is going to be so important when it comes to resale. A lot of people, when they're shopping their used Maverick, they're probably not, if you don't have this, they might not even consider buying your Lariat. So you're going to have, and that's true for an XLT as well. If you're getting all-wheel drive anyways, throw on the extra $745. You'll have a much easier sale, and you'll probably get a whole lot more for your vehicle when you go to trade it down the road. If you're keeping it 20 years, well then who cares? Because your Maverick in 15 or 20 years isn't going to have a huge value still attached to it. Vehicles, when they get that old, aren't worth a whole lot. So let's just see what kind of price this gives us. Now, I believe the first edition package, I'm not really going to go into this and talk about it because I'm quite certain at almost every dealership, they're all sold out. For example, my local dealership, if I'm not mistaken, was allowed one or two first edition packages. Either way, I was told that's a sold out option, and I think it will be in pretty much every dealership. If you find one that says, oh yeah, we have an allotment for that, go right for it. Well, good on you, you're lucky. Before we jump to the price, well, actually, let's jump to the price anyways and see what it costs without that Lariat luxury package, and then we'll quickly go through what the Lariat luxury package gives us. Is it worth it or not? I would consider leasing the Maverick because, heck, it's just I kind of consider it like a short-term purchase with option to buy. Because if you're going to finance a vehicle, the bank owns it anyways until you've paid it off. And if you're leasing it, well, someone else owns it until it's very similar. Someone owns it until you pay it off also. But at least you have the choice. At the end of the lease, you can say, you know what? I've hit 1 or 2 deer. I've had, all sorts of repairs because of my accidents. It's not worth a whole lot. If your Maverick is worth less than the buyback price, you can just send it back to Ford. If it's worth more than the buyback price, well, great news. You can buy it out and you just got yourself a deal. Or you can, sell it or trade it in. And I think those are really good options. So it leaves the door open. Also, at least in my region, if you're on lease, If you know, have your vehicle stolen or you have a wreck, it's a complete loss, it's pretty simple to just go and lease another. Now let's just look at what that would look like. So no cash down on a lease. I think that's how most people would be doing it. And we're looking at $441 as a monthly payment on a 39-month term. That's with 10,500 miles. Now I'm showing you how to use the Build and Price website, and you can play around with it as you wish, but just know that doing the mileage, you know, we won't do it on every single build, but let's say we were to kick it up to 19,500 miles. That's a lot of miles. If you're gonna do more, maybe consider purchasing $487. But let's go back to what's considered more average to normal driving in a year. 10,500 miles, 441, 39 months, 472, 48 months. Now, if you love switching your vehicle really often, you can consider a 36-month lease at $449 per month. I think these are fantastic lease prices for a truck. And 24 months, if you can afford it, great, you get to trade more often at $505 per month. Now, a lot of you are gonna much prefer the finance option, so of course, we'll look at that. I'm a little allergic to the idea of financing this 84 months. Makes it harder in case you do want to trade for new technology. 84 months can often be a little tougher to trade in 2-3 years without having an amount to refinance. That would mean that your amount owing versus the value of the vehicle, there's a negative discrepancy, a negative amount you have to finance onto your next vehicle. You'd be at $464 at 5.9 financing. Your dealer might be able to get you financing at 84 months with a bank better than 5.9. So that's a question to ask them if you are thinking that you really need to finance for that length of period. But what's interesting is with Ford, I really like how if you do 75 months, well, they save you 1% in interest rate off. You're at $494. And if you kick it down to 72 months, they just keep making this more and more interesting. $497, not a big difference in price at 3.9% interest. So there's not much of a difference in price because the interest rate went down 1%. And well, I feel Ford's being awfully nice because then they drop it 2% if you pay it on 5 years and you're looking at $557 per month. That's my sweet spot. I would either lease it for 36 or 48 months or purchase it on 5 years. Marie-Pierre likes to keep her vehicles. I don't think I'll be able to talk her out of her Maverick once she does get it. And we're at this point hoping for a March build date. We did get the impression from our local dealer that at least for them, they're getting 8 builds for January and February, and that they had been assigned, but I want to look for more concrete evidence to really find out if they have all completely been assigned. Maybe there's still some room left in the month of February. Ford normally assigns VINs to people 30 to 45 days before their build. So I won't be surprised if when I do a little more research, I do find out that there are some build dates left for February. But the information and intel I have so far is that I have to hope that we get a build date for the month of March, because I was given the impression that January and March have been, given out, assigned to people, that those builds have been given and they're taken and they're gone. But if I did purchase, I really like the interest rate on the 5-year, 1.9% at that point. If you can pay it cash, well, you might want to leave your money invested in whether it's real estate or stocks or whatever it may be. You might probably have a better luck getting more interest back to you, that your money can work for you instead of just putting on the vehicle. But that's a personal choice, and I'll let you all decide what to do with that. So let's, at any time when you think, what, I'd like to see what my build would have cost if I do this a little differently. Well, you can go to update and close, and you're back to building your Maverick. So last thing on the list to talk about is, should you get a Lariat luxury package? What does it include? Is it worth it? Well, we can see that the price is $3,340. So that's not nothing. So this is going to have to come with a whole lot of stuff to be worth $3,340. And you know what? It does. Something pretty important for a lot of people is going to be the headrest. I did notice that the natural or the single and only position on an XLT and XL, the headrest didn't bother me one bit. You know, Ford didn't go out of their way to put such an angle on it that you need to buy the Lariat luxury package just to be comfortable in the seats. The seats were all very comfortable, but it is nice to be able to adjust the front headrests. You're getting the 400 watt or 110 volt inverter. That's back in the cab, the bed outlet. So that's pretty nice. That's really useful, especially if you're gonna be working around the house, the farm, the cottage. I wanna be building a deck one day if ever I can get out there. So that would be awfully nice to have. You've got because at first we won't have electricity. We lost electricity at the family cottage. Got to build the patio deck so we can get in the house, into the cottage. You've got adaptive cruise control with stop and go. I can tell you a lot of people don't like stop and go, and I've definitely driven some vehicles from other manufacturers where I also don't like the stop and go. I don't really notice it in the Ford. Now my big V6 twin turbo engine on the Bronco, you do hear the engine kick back on, but it kicks back on as soon as you let go of the brake pedal. So it's not something that I'm waiting on. It's not a point of frustration or contention. And adaptive cruise control, well, I love that. You can, if you're distracted because you've got kids in the back or you're having just such a great conversation with your partner, well, adaptive cruise control means if someone on the highway is driving way below the speed limit, you won't just blow right into them. So that's nice, because slow drivers on the highway definitely really slow drivers can cause accidents. You've got, and so can very fast drivers, but let's not get into that. Now that's a whole different discussion. So you've got the bed tie down locking rails with 2 locking brackets. You get that also on the XLT luxury package, and that's pretty nifty. That is nice. I really like how those rails slide back and forth. Of course, the website still says bed liner spray in. That's not the case. The order guide does make it very clear. At some point in November, that actually switched over to hard drop-ins. That means plastic that drops into the bed. And actually on our XLT Hybrid Maverick, well, our luxury package is the reason, in my head, it's definitely the reason that someone who ordered 2 months after me jumped ahead of me. They got their build assigned for early November, around the 8th of November. So I checked just recently and their vehicle was in the process of being, I believe it was actually already built, or it's still in the status of saying it's being built. But either way, they jumped ahead even though they're 2 months behind. So something's going on with this, with these luxury packages. And well, their order had a spray and bed liner. So I'm thinking it's not so much the spray and bed liner. You've got the B&O premium audio with 8 speakers. Some people aren't liking this online, and I've got to wonder. People who are really going on about how the Bang & Olufsen is bad and how the stock sound system in the Maverick is bad. I listen to music all weekend long. Marie-Pierre and I love listening to music. We have a huge sound system for the house. And I wasn't disappointed one bit in the Maverick sound system. I found it did the job, it sounds good, and it has enough bass. There is no speaker rattle or anything. Nothing really to bother me. So not sure why people are having issues with that. You also get the electric brake boost for the 2-liter EcoBoost. I'd really like it if someone in the comments section could say exactly what this is. I have mentioned it in other videos, but to keep this quick, I'm not going to get into all that. Just my very big suspicion is with electric brake boost for the 2-liter EcoBoost. It's that on a regular turboed system, when you're right on the gas and the turbo's on, well, if you go to brake immediately, you don't quite have as much braking power. But if you have an electric brake booster, well, then that's just not the case. So essentially, it's a whole lot of words to say better braking. But I'd love for an engineer or a mechanic to kick in and set the record straight if you're absolutely positive. You have evasive steering. That means if you're about to get into an accident, the vehicle will veer off. But do remember, don't be fooled. Every single Maverick has automatic braking. They'll automatically prep the brakes if the vehicle detects that there is an accident that is imminent. And last minute, they will apply braking. So very cool. It can brake up to 38 kilometers an hour, which is about 25 miles per hour. Now you've got the heated mirror. You've got heated seats, heated steering wheel, all really nice stuff that for Marie was just absolutely necessary. You get the key fob with remote start. Don't be fooled on this one either though. Every single Maverick you can start from your cell phone. You just need to download Ford Pass, and not every manufacturer has this, and I think it's a fantastic technology. Ford Pass is an application you download into your phone for free. I love that word, free. And from there, you can lock your doors, unlock your doors, you can locate your vehicle, and you can remote start it from your phone. Heck, you can be at the beach in a different country and start your snow-covered Maverick that's at the airport. Continuing on, you've got the Sync 3. We mentioned that at the beginning of the video. So we talked about how Sync 3 gives you enhanced voice recognition communications and entertainment system. So your applications can be embedded right into the vehicle. You can speak directly with the vehicle, change things like the temperature, radio stations, and whatnot. You're also getting, don't be fooled either, here it says 8-inch LCD capacitive touchscreen in center stack with swipe capability, but every Maverick has that touchscreen up top. So in between the driver and the passenger, every Maverick does have that awesome touchscreen. You get 911 assist, that's if you're in an accident, your airbags deploy. It's going to call 911. I do believe every single Maverick, if you are in an accident, they will have post-crash braking. So once the vehicle, it'll know you've had an impact and it'll apply those brakes so you don't just keep barreling, across the highway into the other lane after you've made a contact with, let's say, someone who's driving half the speed limit on the highway. If you bump into them, well, first of all, adaptive cruise control, you won't bump into them. But when you do, if you were to bump into them, post braking will make sure that it'll just automatically brake so you don't go tumbling into the other lane. You get, of course, on every single vehicle. Don't be fooled here. It says Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but every single Maverick has that. You do get the smart charging USB ports, 2 of them. Of course, you get the trailer hitch with 4-pin. So automatic Lux package, you're getting the capacity to pull 2,000 pounds. You need that hitch, and you need the wiring for the lighting on your trailer. And that's what trailer hitch with 4-pin is. It's not brakes for your trailer. Again, if you want brakes for your trailer, you got to get the 4K towing package. All Mavericks will have Mavericks do have stability control for themselves. It's a fantastic system. Also, when you pull, if you get the hitch from the factory, and of course, the system just works so much better when there's also brakes on your trailer and you have the 7-pin hitch that comes with 4K towing. You get a windshield wiper de-icer. So that just helps, if you remote start your vehicle, you can have those windshields, wipers, the arms, sort of melting the snow. So it's a little easier to clean off the snow and the ice around your wipers when you do get out to the vehicle, and you get the wireless charging pad, which is going to be pretty big for a lot of people. Now let's say we take a fully loaded. This will be the last thing we do in the video. If we fully load a Lariat, what kind of price does this give us? At any time, you can move right up to the calculator. I am very quickly going to talk about all these options, whether it's splash guards, molded. There's no longer any late availability on any of these accessories. But please, if you want to get your Maverick as soon as possible, it's worldwide. There's shortages on rubber, vinyl, glass, plastic, microchips. The list is endless. There's shortage for supplies and materials and minerals worldwide. You want your Maverick? You can live probably without these accessories. Order your Maverick from your dealership, order the accessories and parts from your parts department. That way, if they do happen to get in 3 months after you get your Maverick, well, you've been driving your new Maverick for 3 months. If you're in no hurry whatsoever, then don't worry, forget what I just said. That I'm personally going to be getting any accessories at my parts department to get my Maverick sooner. So if we fully load this, the estimated selling price, $35,715. Some people will say, oh, that's wild, that's crazy. Why does the Maverick exist? It's the price of a Ranger. Okay, yes, a Maverick unbelievably loaded with all sorts of luxury is in the prices of a Ranger that doesn't have all those luxuries. But that's just true of how all vehicles are set up on the market these days. So I still much prefer the finance. 60 months, 1.9% interest, fantastic interest rate from Ford, $625 per month. 558 on 72 months, but more interest. 75 months, 4.9, 554. And 5.9%, I don't like that one, 521. I do like leases for the reasons I mentioned earlier. I'd be thinking 39 months at 493. I like it when Marie changes. I like to change heck every year. But if you do 48 months, 528. So the sweet spot is, a 36 or 39 month lease, unless you really like to keep them. But remember, at the end of the lease, you do have the choice to buy out your Maverick. If things have gone on unbelievably well, you have the choice to sell it. You have the choice to return it. There's just more choice. And who doesn't like freedom of choice? So this has been your build and price. I really hope that I've been really helpful here. If I have been helpful, please like and subscribe. It helps feed that poodle, dress that poodle, and helps finish off the garage, which, hey, it's Sunday for me. So this is my family day. So if you're watching this on Sunday, I hope your family day is going well. I need to get to mine. Marie-Pierre has projects to finish that garage. So we're almost done. Thank you so much for all of you watching. I wish you all a great week. Hope you get to put the pedal to the metal, and I wish you all more cars and more power. Until next time.